Hello, and welcome to Jazz Improv with Mr. P-Fan. In today's lesson, we'll be discussing chords and arpeggios, as well as some basic triads. For the purposes of this lesson, I have split all of the instruments into different groups. Please take a moment now to locate your instrument and memorize what group number and color you are in. Every piece of music has two main components, a melody and harmony. In a song's harmony, usually everything is based around chords. A chord is defined as three or more notes played at the same time. Some instruments can play chords, like the piano, guitar, and mallet instruments. Other instruments can only play one note at a time, so they would need to practice chords using what are called arpeggios. An arpeggio is defined as a chord played one note at a time. There are four main types of chords that exist in music: major, minor, diminished, and augmented. Here is a major chord. If I play it as an arpeggio, it sounds like this. Here is a minor chord. Here is a diminished chord. And here is an augmented chord. I'm going to give you a few examples of these chords using the key of C. A C major scale has one of every letter in the musical alphabet starting on C, and everything is natural. So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, all naturals. I'm going to give each one of these notes in the scale a scale degree number. C is the first note in the scale, so that's 1, D is 2, and so forth. When playing a major chord, it consists of the first, third, and fifth note of the major scale. So in the C major scale, that would be C, E, and G. A minor chord in the key of C would be C, E flat, and G. The reason it is E flat is because the formula to make it minor has a flatted third or a lowered third. You lower it by 1/2 step. So for a minor chord, I would take the E natural from the major and lower it down 1/2 step to E flat. The diminished chord is the same as the minor chord, except it also has a flatted fifth. So it's 1 flat 3, which is E flat, and flatted fifth, which would be G flat. And lastly, an augmented chord is similar to a major chord in that it has the first note and the third note of the major scale, and the fifth note is altered. It is raised by 1/2 step to make it sharp. Let's all take a minute to try this with our instruments. Locate your group number and your color and follow along with me playing the B flat major scale, a concert B flat major scale. Let's play this scale ascending and descending in half notes. Ready? 1, 2, set, go. Back down. Now let's talk about the different types of triads that you can find within that scale. The first one, a major triad, has a formula of just 1, 3, and 5 of the major scale. So look at your group number, and the notes that are highlighted in white are the notes in the major triad. So for example, group 1 would be B flat, D, and F. Group 2, C, the first note, E, the third note, and G, the fifth note. Let's all locate your groups and try a major triad, going up and down in half notes, 2 beats each. Here we go. First note, get set. 1, 2, half notes, go. Back down. The next type of triad is called a minor triad. That formula is the first note, flatted third note, and fifth note of the major scale. So now take a look at your third note. That is the note that is now different. Find your group and let's try a minor triad, half notes up and down. Here we go. 2, ready, go. The third type of triad we'll discuss is the diminished triad. This one has the first note, a flatted third, and a flatted fifth. Some of the groups might see things that they haven't seen before in this one. Look at the flatted fifth. There are 3 groups that need to pay extra close attention to this one. Group 1, 4, and 5. Starting with groups 1 and 5, your fifth note is an F flat. An F flat is a half step lower than an F, which is really an E natural. In group 4, you have a C flat, which is really a B natural. Let's try this triad in arpeggios. Half notes again. 1, 2, set, go. Last but not least, we have an augmented triad. The augmented triad has the first note, the third note is natural, and then the fifth note is raised up a half step. Let's try this one in half notes. 1, 2, ready, go. You can practice this in any different key, as long as you start with the major scale. So as an example, I wanted to practice all 4 of these types of triads with E flat major. The key of E flat has 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. Again, I've assigned the same numbers 1 through 8 to each scale degree. The formulas work the same way in any key. So for a major scale or a major triad, I will play the first note, E flat, the third note, G, and the fifth note, B flat. There's an E flat major chord, an E flat major triad. Minor, we would lower the G to become a G flat. For diminished, we have a B doubled flat. This one gets a little weird. So since B flat is our fifth note, we're still going to lower it by a half step. If you lower B flat by a half step, it's technically called B double flat, but it really translates to an A natural. And in the augmented triad, a similar thing happens going the opposite direction. E flat is the first note, G is the third note, and B natural is the fifth. In a major scale, B flat is the fifth note, so if we need to sharp the fifth, we have to raise it up a half step, and a half step above B flat in a chromatic scale is B natural. Now at this point, you can take this information that we learned today and apply it to all of the major scales that you know. You can practice this in every key. Start with major and practice the first, third, and fifth notes of each major scale. Then you can try to apply the minor, augmented, and diminished triads to those same scales. Have fun practicing and feel free to rewind this video and replay as much as you want.